It's easy to have a creative block if you're creative, but you're sitting there scratching your head sometimes thinking, nothing's coming to me. It was flowing to me last week. What's going on? I've got a block. I'm gonna show you exactly how to never run out of ideas. And to front load you, this is one of the most simple things you can do. And I've found, and you may have found this too, that the more we detach from needing to have a fantastic idea, the more likely one enters our mind. In the moments that we're like, what? Oh, I'm in the shower, I can't even write this down. Funny they say that in the shower and on walks, in these moments, the creative ideas just come to us and they flow. But there's a reason why and there's a principle behind it. And I'm gonna share this with you. There's two sides to the coin. We can have this conversation and interaction because of modern day technology, but also we're incredibly overstimulated because of modern day technology. What's one of the reasons why we get creative blocks? Well, first of all, we are massively overstimulated. If you was to go back to caveman times, let's call him Gru. Gru would wake up, he'd go out the cave, he'd go find some food, Gru kill food, he'd bring it back, and then he'd feed the family, and he'd crack on and do his thing. And there was not a single thing, there was not a single bit of stimulation other than the sun and the oxytocin that he would have between his family and the love and the feelings and all that stuff. And that's all Gru would have. Now we have phones and we have drugs and we have high processed food and we have this and we have distractions. We've got the news, we've got all sorts of stuff going on and our brain's like, oh, what's going on? And that creates an overstimulation. Now, ideas don't flow during times of overstimulation. And this overstimulation isn't just externally something that's going on around us. This is something we also do. Now, I'm gonna be really honest with you. Something that I do, and I realized I was doing it, and I still do it to this day, is I fill every single gap. Every moment in the day, I fill it. For example, if I'm going to cook, I'll put my headphones in, I'm going to put a podcast on. If I'm going here, I'm traveling, I'm driving, there's music going. I'm in the gym, there's music playing. If I'm doing this, there's something playing. There's every single time I'm walking about or every single time I'm doing something, there is some level of stimulation. If I'm working, I'm actually stimulated from the work I'm doing. And I'm giving no room to not be stimulated. Ideas cannot flow whilst we are overstimulated. So, how do we have endless ideas? Planning moments of silence. Planning moments of silence has single-handedly changed my life. Thinking about that person that I need to message and ask if they're okay, for the business idea that I want to come up with, for the content idea. What I'm speaking to you right now came during a moment of silence. I was sitting there and I turned off the music for a second and boom, an idea came. And I said, oh my days, creativity, let's do it. And then I went and write it down. And it's only in these moments of silence. There's a psychological reason why this happens. I'm gonna share with you. Now, there's a default mode network in our mind. That sounds a bit sciencey and complicated, but let me break it down. Because when I first heard this, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Our brain's creative engine only activates during times of rest and during times of silence. The brain struggles to do two things at once. For example, we can't focus. There's that whole study of you can't focus on two things at once. Now, again, let's go back to this point of we're overstimulated. When we're overstimulated, our focus is on the stimulation that is coming in, is on the TV, is on the scrolling, it's on the podcast, whatever we're doing. Even if we're doing good habits, right? We're still stimulated. During that time, our brain isn't thinking, it's receiving, it's consuming. Which means when we're in those moments of filling every gap with the podcast or the music or the stimulation, our brain basically goes offline and says, oh, you don't need me right now, I'm gonna stop. I made a video about this skill that AI can't replace. Go watch that. But also, the thing about AI, the problem with AI is that a lot of the time we get it to do our thinking for us. Now, when we get it to do our thinking for us and our creative tasks, which is a no-go for AI, it cannot have creative control of your life. You are a better creator than AI. But when we allow it to have creative control, it can have influence, but cannot have creative control. But when we allow it to have creative control over our life, what happens is our default mode network, the part of our brain that is responsible for creativity, shuts down. It says, you're not using me. I'm going offline. I don't need to be here. Because we don't use it. And then what happens when we don't use it is we get in this perpetual cycle of running out of ideas because the part of the brain that's making those ideas isn't online. So how can we fix this? I told you at the start of the video, this is gonna be the most simple thing you've probably ever heard. And you're gonna be like, darn it, I should have known that from the start. Moments of silence is single-handedly the way to never run out of ideas. Be expectant that when you schedule a moment of silence, I'm at this point now where I'm expectant when I schedule a moment of silence, and I'm going to show you how in what areas I believe in scheduling moments of silence in. But when I schedule moments of silence, I realize that I'm expectant. I know, right, during this 20 minutes where there's going to be silence, I know there's going to be countless and endless ideas that are going to flow to my brain. I just need a notepad to write it down. And during that 20 minutes, you may have ideas that will last you months. And that is the essence of silence. And that part of our brain that I just mentioned wakes up and says, oh, you need me again. I'm here. I'm back in the room. You're using me. And we are using it in moments of silence. One that I've been using for the last year, which has been truly transformational, is in a sauna. Now, if you don't go sauna, if you can't access a sauna, try to access one. It's so good for your health. It's really, really good. However, something I realized when I started doing this is that I would see in my gym it has a sauna. Now, most people bring their phone from the locker to the sauna, and they go into the sauna, and then they're in the sauna and they're scrolling on their phone. And I don't know. I just think like that's like a moment that presents itself for silence. First of all, the sauna, your phone's gonna flip and overheat. But then also, that's like a perfect moment to just sit there in silence with your thoughts and allow this creative mode in our brain to give us endless ideas. Because it's through the silence that the amount of ideas I've had in the sauna, I couldn't even tell you because I don't even know. There's the amount of ideas that I've come up with in the sauna about somebody I need to reach out to, about a message I need to create, about a piece of content I need to make, about a change in the business I need to make, about a big decision I need to make in my life. I think I even decided to leave my job in the sauna. I was just sitting there and I thought, what do I need to do next? All right, that makes sense. Let me do it. It's such a powerful area. The sauna is one. Walks. And that doesn't have to be an hour, 2 hours. It don't have to be no crazy walk, but just going on a walk. Drive. If you drive. If you're someone that drives. I know it's so tempting to get in a car and put on the radio or put on some house music and, do you know what I mean, driving along and singing. It's so good. I love it. It's really good. However, one time, set a time during the week. Maybe block it. For this journey, for this 10-15 minute journey. Don't do it for like long journeys because you'll drive yourself insane. But do it for like a 10-15 minute journey. Schedule in the silence so that you're going to go on that journey and you're not going to hear anything. But what you are going to hear and be expectant of is ideas. Try this once. You'll see how many ideas flow to you and you'll get addicted to doing it. For me, some non-negotiables are sauna, walks and driving. At least one a week. Every time I go in the sauna, I don't have my phone. I have the card, the actual physical card to tap in at my gym. Walks, I'll go either listen to a podcast. If I've already done that silence and I've got my ideas, I'll go listen to a podcast, or I'll go on a walk with no stimulation. And then another one, driving. You'll actually find driving's flipping really enjoyable. And you can focus on the driving and then you'll get an idea that comes to you as well. Driving's an interesting one. I'll tell you why. Because it takes a level of creativity and your brain is firing whilst you're driving because you have to make so many micro decisions. Although it's an unconscious skill, if you've been driving for a long period of time, your brain has to make so many micro decisions. You'll find that this network that creates ideas is firing. And whilst it's firing, guess what's happening? Ideas are flowing to your skull. The main takeaway from this video is ideas are something that flow to us in moments. However, those moments are silent. And ideas are not going to come to us whilst we're stimulating ourselves. While we've got information coming in, we're not going to create any. The brain can't focus on two things at once. Create moments of silence for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes in these areas. And you'll see. And once you do it once, you'll see the ideas that come to you and you'll want to do it more than once. You'll want to continue to do it in moments during the week because we are so overstimulated. Just by the nature of how the world's set up, we're so overstimulated. And for us creatives, it can be overstimulating, it can be too much. And in these moments of silence, we're able to calm ourselves down and allow that creative talent and blessing that we've been given to start flowing ideas. That's that. Silence. That's it. That's what you come for. How'd you get ideas? Go in silence. That was it. Until the next one. I'll see you in a bit.